Today, we spoke with a local woman who worked in Washington during President Jimmy Carter's presidency. Our coverage now continues with Western Mass News reporter Olivia Hickey, who joins us live in studio with the story. Olivia?
Matt, today I sat down with former state senator Linda Melkonian, who was an aide to the former House Speaker Thomas P. O'Neill during Carter's presidency. She shares her experience working with the President Carter's team. Former U.S. President Jimmy Carter deciding to go into hospice care on Saturday. This news has given the nation the time to reflect on his time in office and service to the country.
The first thing that came to my mind was all of the accomplishments that he made that are on display at his presidential library. I wish him the best, and I'm sure he will go peacefully when his time comes.
Former state senator and Springfield resident Linda Melkonian was an aide to former House Speaker Thomas P. O'Neill during Carter's time in office. She shares with Western Mass News the 39th president and his staff weren't the easiest to work with at first.
Jimmy Carter at first didn't want to work with Congress. His staff was very disdainful, contemptuous, disrespectful toward members of Congress. They would not return phone calls. They would insult the congressman. There wasn't the give and take that usually occurs. Tip O'Neill tried to educate him in the workings of Congress and in what it was like to be in Washington. Once you get elected president and you occupy the White House, you have to work with the Congress to get your agenda through.
However, with time, she says things improved and many things were accomplished during his administration.
He worked with Congress to establish the Education Department, a Secretariat Department, and also the Energy Department, and passed a lot of good legislation in the environment, in energy, and other areas.
Having a front row seat to American history, Melkonian shares her favorite memory of the president after the signing of the Camp David Accords.
Speaker O'Neill was at the White House for a leadership meeting after the agreement was signed. And he said to the president, Carter, what did you do to keep them together, to keep them at the table negotiating and to come out with this agreement? He said, I would talk about their grandchildren. They both had grandchildren, and they loved their grandchildren. And he said when things got tense, we stopped the negotiating, we stopped the tension, and we talk about the grandparents. And their eyes would light up, their face would light up, they'd smile. And he said one day they realized they would have the opportunity to prevent their grandchildren from being in a war against each other.
And one of her last interactions with the president in office.
He stopped and he talked to me. He said, you know, Linda, you work for a great guy, Tip O'Neill. He said, you were so lucky to work for someone like that. He says, you know, he gave me such great advice about how to get along with Congress, how to work with Washington and Congress, because Congress is all about relationships and how to count votes.
Former President Carter is well known as a champion of human rights, and he currently holds the title as the oldest living president in U.S. history. Tonight, President Biden took to Twitter to share support for the Carter family. The post reads in part, quote, "We admire you for the strength and humility you have shown in difficult times. May you continue your journey with grace and dignity, and God grant you peace." Reporting in studio, Olivia Hickey for Western Mass News.